So welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started because we've got a lot to cover today. Hopefully leave some time for your questions and answers. So welcome everyone to our fourth episode of the Roadmap to Black Friday Success. And today's topic is all about segmentation. We are here to talk about different levels of segmentation, give you tons of examples, ideas. I am Greg Zakowitz. I'm a senior e-commerce expert here at Omnisend. I'm going to do my best to lead the conversation today. Just a quick background about myself. I've been in email marketing, believe it or not, for 18 years now. It's almost 2 decades in email as a practitioner, a consultant, analyst, and now as just kind of a talking head here. So I'm joined by Genevieve. She's going to do the majority of the talking today. We like to call her Jen for short. She can use whichever one she wants. But Jen, why don't you do a quick intro of yourself and let us know kind of your day-to-day role here at Omnisend.
Thanks, Greg. Hi, everyone. My name is Genevieve, but I go by Jen. I'm a customer success manager at Omnisend. I've been working here for about 2.5 years now. So I get to work with a lot of different types of Omnisend brands and help them, use all the tools that we have to grow their businesses.
Wonderful. And so she's obviously in the day-to-day much more than I am, dealing with segmentation. I know I've had these same conversations. We banter when we get together, and even in the green room when we were chatting before about typically how brands do segmentation or how they don't do segmentation, kind of the reasons for those. We want to help get you through some of those things if you're new to segmentation, or if you're using tons of segmentation, want some different ideas, or just how to build them inside of Omnisend as well. So things to know, agenda today, duration, we're going to go up to 1 hour. I say that only because I'm not sure how many questions we're going to have and how long it's going to take us, but I am long-winded, so we'll probably push the hour here. The workshop is being recorded today. The recording will be available, as you can see on the screen here, on our YouTube channel. We'll also send it via email afterwards. So if you need to log off early, please don't worry about logging off early and losing access to the rest. We'll have those on here for you. We'll get you that via email. You can always find it on the YouTube channel as well. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A tab. We'll try to monitor. We'll have someone monitoring the chat session as well, but we also have a Q&A tab on there. You can look for on your platform. Feel free to ask your questions there, and we'll try to get to those as best we can during the webinar. If there's something where it runs long, there's a serious question you need asked, we'll try to follow up after the event with those as well. And of course, if it's technically related and we can't get to it, we do have 24/7, 365 live customer support. So always feel free to reach out to them as well. As far as the agenda today, we're going to talk about Black Friday segmentation strategy. So we're going to cover 3 things and then get a short feedback at the end. So what is segmentation? Why do you need it? Why should you use it? Not only year round, but also during Black Friday. So we're going to talk about some of the very basics there, just kind of let you know those benefits of it and how you can use it. We're going to talk about the Omnisend segmentation builder very shortly. Jen's going to give you a quick walkthrough. So if you're unfamiliar with it, or maybe you're not an Omnisend user, we welcome you here today anyways. Hopefully you'll learn something, but you can see very quickly how to build some segments there, some pre-built ones. We're going to spend the majority of our time talking about point number 3 here. And then we're going to give you 10 Black Friday, Cyber Monday, holiday email and SMS segmentation ideas. And yes, we will have screenshots of how to set those up on the platform. So when you look at the recording later, or you need a tutorial to go back to, you will have those right in front of you. You can use those kind of as your cheat guide. Then if you log off at any point during the webinar today, or you wait until the end and you close your screen, you'll present it with some very short feedback about today's webinar. It'll take you less than a minute to complete, super quick. We encourage you guys all to do this. It just helps us make these programs even better for you in the future. And we do look at those responses and take them very earnestly. And if you want a different host, you just let them know in the feedback section as well, and they'll get a new one in here. So, and then we'll hit some Q&A. So that's going to be our agenda for today. And it's about time we actually just jump into the content here. So step 1, what is segmentation and why do you need it or want to use it? And Jen, this is going to be very basic for you, but I'm going to let you run with this. Why should we be using segmentation, especially during the holiday season?
Yeah, I think segmentation is really important to, first of all, increase your campaign engagement, especially around the holidays. I think people are sending probably more campaigns than they normally would in a month. So it's good to make sure you're not bombarding your customers or overwhelming them with too many emails. And then you also will see, improved customer loyalty and retention by, sending them more personalized messages based on where they might be in their customer journey. And then also, this can help to decrease the unsubscribes or spam complaints that you might see by, again, preventing from sending too many emails and making sure that you're hitting the right customer base.
So I'm sure everyone on the call already knows today, right? Segmentation is just about being relevant. We want to send the most relevant messages possible to the customers at the right time, proverbial right message, right time, right place, right channel, all those things here. And that's really ultimately what segmentation comes down to. And this is where we see automated messages, right? It's I always kind of call automated messages like the new segmentation because they're automated. You kind of set them up once. You can always tweak them, but they're always sending segmented messages at the same time. That's why they perform so well. Same thing comes through with your promotional messages, right? Most people will send kind of your batch and blast, your mass emails out to people. And there's a lot of reasons for that. So I've got two polls I want to run real quick just to kind of get a level set of the audience and who's dialing in today and see what we have here. So talk about your segmentation level. So here's a quick poll if you guys want to take just a second to go ahead and click your options here. But what is your current segmentation level? How often and how effective are you guys segmenting every time? So we'll get through those results here in just a minute, and they are flying. I love watching these things in real time. They're so much fun. All right, so we're still coming in. I love it. So the responses coming in are pretty much what I thought they were going to be, maybe skewed a little bit more in the opposite. But right now we are sitting at, and I'm going to go ahead and close this just for the sake of moving on. So our results, we have number one coming in. I send the 1 or 2 segments every now and then, 45%. So almost half of you send every now and then. So it looks like you're dabbling in it. You want to do it, but there's going to be a reason you're not doing it all the time. There's 31% that says, I do not segment at all. And I kind of thought those two things would be inverse. I don't know if you kind of felt the same way, Jen, but I would have thought the majority wouldn't be segmenting at all. And then the second majority would be 1 to 2. We have 7% that segments everything. God bless you. I want the people that segment everything. It'd be great if you could throw something into the general chat about maybe how you find either the number of segments you have or how you find the segmenting is going for you compared to when you were doing mass email sends. Are you finding it to be more effective for you? And then we have 17%, 1 to 2 segments every single time. So pretty good results there. So real quick, still new to the Zoom thing, right? We're 2 years through this pandemic and I'm still there. So all right, so there are your results. We're kicking through. And then I've got one more poll about the reasons we are segmenting or not segmenting each time. So let me get back to my other poll. And then these are your barriers to segmentation. So real quick, why are you segmenting or why are you not segmenting through here? So we have, lack of know-how, lack of time. I have my guess about which one of those is going to win out. It's too complicated and I don't want to segment. Greg, you're full of it. I don't need segmentation here. Jen, what do you think is going to win here?
I don't know. I think maybe a lack of time or it might be too complicated. I definitely see a lot of brands that I work with not using segmentation, and it can be for a lot of different reasons sometimes.
I'm going to guess lack of time wins out here. It was working with brands, even doing it myself, right? And back in the day when 18 years ago, we were segmenting and we were having like MySQL here. I have to send a request out to IT to do it back then. It's so much easier now. But when I was working with brands, it was always, man, this is time consuming, right? I've got to have 4 creatives built, right? Even just minor tweaks. And then I've got to have 4 subject lines and 4 schedules and 4 reporting. And it became very complex. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so we have lack of time winning out at 45%. It's a little bit lower than I thought it was going to be, but that's going to win out. Second is 35% of lack of know-how. So this is perfect. I think this is a great way, and I think a great use of time for everyone coming in today is say, okay, how can we do this and maximize our time? And we know you're doing more than just email on a day-to-day basis. And then give you some pointers to overcome those obstacles like lack of know-how. So it's always smart to start with a couple things and get get going from there. 16% says it's too complicated. So again, this might be a know-how thing. This might be, I'm just not familiar with how to do it. I don't have the time to invest in learning how to do it, or I don't know what rules to do in the segmentation. And Jen, you're going to help with that today as well. And then we've got 3% that says, I don't want to segment. I just don't want to do it. So very good. Okay. So I think it's a good level set for where we're at and kind of how we do this. So for those people that either don't know how to do it, lack the know-how, aren't really familiar with what segmentation is. Jen, I'm going to kick this over to you real quick as we're going to go through kind of what the segmentation builder is, super high level. If you're already familiar with the Omnisend segmentation builder, this is going to be quick. So please don't jump away because we're going to get into some of those specific segments around Black Friday, Cyber Monday here in just a minute. So Jen, I'm going to stop my sharing and let you kind of pick up here.
Can you see my screen? So once we get into the platform, you'll want to navigate over to the audience tab where you'll create all of your segments and have those options there for you. So here you can click on create a segment to start out if you don't want to start with any preset filters. You have all of your options here that you can either search for or scroll down, but there are some pre-built segments that you can also work off of. So here you can filter by what type of customers you might be looking for, or what type of behavior. And I'll use this most engaged email subscriber segment as an example. But you can see here, it creates the segment for you and adds all of the filters. So this is specifically looking at your contacts that are subscribed to the email channel, and they have placed at least one order in the last 45 days. And they've also clicked on a message at least one time in the last 45 days. So this example is using some of your purchase data along with the engagement data. So if you scroll down here, you'll have other options based on what status their order is in, or if they've applied coupon codes. And then you'll also have your engagement filters if they've opened or clicked messages, opted in, or viewed pages recently too. You also do have sub-filters available here if you want to filter down between specific products or categories that they might have ordered, or change the date ranges here. And you also are able to change the and or logic and add other groups of filters down at the bottom. But I think that's about it for segmentation.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again so we can get back to the presentation. And we should be good here. So this is going to lead us to how we should be doing for Black Friday. What are some of the strategies we should be using? Maybe if you are new to segmentation, give you one or two ideas about segments you can play around with, and even start testing now so that you have an idea about how they might perform come Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So Jen, I've done enough speaking today. I'm going to kick it over to you to kind of lead us through 10 different Black Friday segmentation ideas. And again, reminder, use the Q&A panel if you have any questions for Jen or on one of these segments or ideas as we move through.
All right, the first example here is seasonal shoppers. So these are your contacts that have purchased during last November or December and haven't ordered again recently since then. So I think this segment example, I've added specific dates to look at November and December, but you can also customize those date ranges and add your specific dates that you'd like to look at there. And you can also, change the date that you're looking at for their purchase history too. But I think this one is great if you want to look at people who maybe were purchasing last year, if you might have customers that just purchase once a year during the holiday season. You can kind of use this segment and remind them about, what your top items are, what the top gifts are for this year, and send out an email with kind of your new and now content. Anything else that you want to add, Greg?
Yeah, and I think this is kind of important because we talk about, say, unengaged contacts, right? And how long do I wait before I kind of re-engage? And by unengaged, I mean just not opening emails and interacting with emails. And a lot of times, well, it's going to be based a little bit on how often you send it and, types of emails you're sending and things like that, and your brand and products you sell. But unengaged shoppers, right? Those seasonal shoppers are kind of key. So if I come and I buy from a brand, which sometimes I do just once a year for buying a gift for my wife or my parents or something, and then I don't buy again and you unsubscribe me because I'm not engaging with your emails, right? This is kind of one of those reasons where if you can segment like this and, hey, Greg's a seasonal shopper and I've gone a year and a half without buying again, maybe you want to hold on to that unengaged contact and just send me fewer emails throughout the course of the year, but hold me on to that whole year to get me through an extra holiday season with your best sales and things like this. So I would say creating seasonal shoppers ones, even if you're not going to use it this year, having that to kind of pair up with your non-engaged contact list throughout the course of the year and try to figure out what that overlap might be, because that might be your indication that I'm going to email less throughout the course of the year, still send you some emails, but I'm going to hold you on for another holiday season. So I don't know if that's a strategy that you talk to your clients about, you get questions about, Jen, but it's just another use for, or another reason to do seasonal shopper segments beyond Black Friday, Cyber Monday period as well. So any thoughts or comments on that, Jen?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And, when we're starting out segmentation with some of the brands I work with, a lot of the things that they'll look at first are the email engagement, if people are opening or clicking emails. So I think this is a good segment to kind of keep an eye out separate from that. So this doesn't include any of their email engagement, but kind of just looking at when they're placing orders.
Excellent. All right, moving on to number 2.
So this segment is specifically looking at people who are subscribed to the email channel and they've viewed pages that have gift in the URL, or they've placed orders in the past for gift cards. And I think this is also one of the segments that you can customize a little bit. If there are different products other than gift cards that you wanted to look at, maybe gift sets or other gifting items, you can always add in those product names separate from gift cards. But overall, I think this kind of gives you a good idea of a set of customers that's really interested in your gifting content. Especially a lot of brands will send emails around gift guides or ideas for gifts for people during this time of the year. So I think, if you do have those extra gifting emails, sometimes this can be a good audience to send those to.
Yeah, and there's some other things we can look at, and the benefits of segmenting this way as well. We talk about those seasonal shoppers, right? Are they seasonal shoppers, but did they buy a gift card? Maybe that's your indication they are procrastinators. They didn't know what to buy, so maybe it's an indication for you to say, hey, we got a lot of these people on here that are viewing gifts. They're not purchasing, or they are purchasing and doing gift cards. Maybe we need to do more gift guides or price point gifts or things like that with our promotional emails through the course of the year. Also, we saw, for those that are unaware, we have a H1 stats report we just put out a couple of weeks ago. It's ungated. It's on our resources section on our blog and our website. You can go check it out. But we saw that 46% of all email orders in the first half of this year came from automated messages. Now, browse abandonment, and this might get you into it as well, right? We talk about automation being a type of form of segmentation. Browse abandonment for the last 2 years or a year and a half has been the most widely adopted automation on here. So if we're talking about browsing gift pages or purchasing gift cards, we can have specific gift guide browse abandonment messages for kind of those gift pages of the holidays as well. So it's all about layering up in the automation as best you can, but think about how this one might overlap with the first one as well.
Yeah, and I think this also gives you a good chance to customize the messaging and, provide product recommendations for items that might be top gifts, but you can really speak to the customer and ask them if they're looking for gifts and use it as a way to personalize the messaging more.
Very good. All right, kicking over to number 3.
So this one I think is really important. This would be your VIP customers. And the way I set this one up is to look at your email subscribers that have either ordered a high number of times or have a high total spent number. So if they've either spent a lot or had a high number of orders. And I think these customers are, some of your top customers that you'll want to send maybe exclusive offers to or give them early access to promotions. But sometimes you can even just do like a nice thank you message during the holiday season. But I think it's really important to speak to these customers differently since they are some of your top customers. And I think this is also a segment that would be great to use for SMS subscribers as well. You can see the top filter is looking at the email subscription status, but that can easily be changed to also look at if they are subscribed to SMS too. So I definitely see a lot of brands that do early access for Black Friday or Cyber Monday promotions, and either send that to SMS subscribers or just top customers in general.
Yeah, of course, it's obvious, but I'm going to say it anyways, right? It's up to the brand to determine what they constitute as quote unquote VIP. I mean, maybe you have a loyalty program, you could easily identify those, maybe you don't. And it looks like you're here, like you're picking 1,500, right? You're just picking a number, right, based on kind of the products you sell. So obviously look at the price point for your products. Maybe it's number of purchases, but whatever you classify as the VIP, it's going to be important. And this is, again, where you can do some testing on the VIP as well throughout the course of a year to say, all right, if we, how do I get that one extra purchase out of someone by, and what is that dollar figure or what is that purchase amount on there as well? So when you're talking about VIP customers, of course, this is good for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I'm assuming this is a good strategy for year round as well. I think most of these segments will. But year round, right? We can treat VIP customers much differently. How are some other ways we might be able to use a VIP segment throughout the course of the year?
Yeah, I think some of the brands that I work with prefer to do, offer rewards based on the customer loyalty instead of just having a loyalty program that customers can sign up for. So you definitely can change either the spending threshold or the number of orders that they're placing, but kind of using it as a way to reward your top customers or send that thank you message and really thanking them for being a returning customer and supporting the business. I think that's always a nice touch point to have.
Yep, very good. I'm going to throw one more at you as well, because I'm always going to go back to automation. So hopefully we'll balance each other nicely here. But think about these VIP customers from your automated messages through the course of the year as well. So shopping cart abandonment or browse abandonment, right? Do we need to send 4 messages, abandon cart messages to VIP customers versus non-VIP customers? Maybe 1 or 2, or maybe 1 email, 1 SMS is all you really need for those customers, because they're already familiar with your brand. Your messaging change is a little bit different versus maybe your non-purchasers or one-time or maybe just 2-time purchasers as well. So there's other ways we can reuse these segments through the course of the year to make our messaging more effective and maybe more relevant and more friendly with brands as well.
Yeah, I think especially in a post-purchase automation, I think it can definitely make sense to look at returning customers versus first-time customers.
Oh, you got me excited, Jen. I love post-purchase messaging. Underutilized, uber effective. So anyone out there wants to talk post-purchase one day, you let me know. All right, number 4, Jen, take it away.
So this segment is a little bit more simple in the setup, but it's utilizing a tag from a form. So if you do have any forms that are set up to collect interest in your Black Friday or Cyber Monday promotions, you would want to make sure you're including a tag on those forms so that you can segment them based on that tag. The tag is added to any new and existing subscribers that would sign up through the form. So they don't necessarily have to just be new subscribers coming in. And I think this can also be a way that you kind of leverage your Black Friday or Cyber Monday promotions as a way to also, drive new signups and new subscribers by, making everyone excited for the promotions or, content that you have coming up in the holiday season.
Yeah, we can obviously see some overlap here, right? So we talked about those seasonal shoppers. They might have been signed up in June, maybe they're looking, or July, but now we can maybe combine that one with Black Friday, Cyber Monday forms as well, right? So there's different ways we can kind of skin a cat on this one as well. But I think this is really good. The other way to use this, we talked about unengaged subscribers, right, Jen? So if we know you are signed up, maybe you didn't purchase, but you signed up through one of these forms and you wound up purchasing from someone else, and now you're unengaged, it's maybe another filter which you want to at least, you don't have to actually filter it through, but another lens to view it through of your non-engaged contacts throughout the course of a year. Hey, they signed up, they were shopping for holiday things, they chose not to shop with us. Maybe it treats it a little bit differently for how you want to message them throughout the course of the year, and maybe send to them the following year as well. So really good example. I love the idea of just tagging people on when you change forms as well, right? So it could be, Father's Day forms or Mother's Day forms, right? Because that's the one thing with having a little awareness around, there are people who lost their parents or one of their parents, and they don't want to, they want to opt out of some of those specific day messages like this. But if we know they signed up during Father's Day or when they were shopping for Mother's Day, it's an indication that, hey, it's okay to send these people, but maybe you want, if you're doing an opt out for one of those holidays, you can exclude those people from the opt out campaigns as well. So I'm just trying to think of different ways we can use this data through the course of a year, but I love tagging people on forums throughout the course of a year as well.
Yeah, I think it's good to create different forms for different types of, events or holidays that are happening throughout the year, and then kind of just gives you another, data point on your customers as well.
So Jen, I know we always wait to take questions until the end. I'm kind of looking through kind of the chat here as we're going through, and this one's directly related to forums. So let's go ahead and jump into it now. I've got my own. I'll let you go first because you might just say what I'm thinking. But it comes from Lisa, and she says, how early should I consider putting a Black Friday, Cyber Monday pop-up email sign up on my website? So this kind of goes, when do we start marketing for the holidays? So what would you say?
I would say I feel like every year this is something that people start earlier and earlier. And I've even seen in the past couple of years where people are giving early access to their email subscribers or VIP subscribers to those Black Friday and Cyber Monday promotions. So I would say maybe around the beginning of November or even end of October is really when I start seeing a lot more of the holiday mentions in the emails.
Yeah, I would agree with you. If it was me, and again, I'm not the final word on any of this stuff because my opinion will change 3 weeks from now. But I've been talking about the earlier start to holidays for over 10 years now, right? We went to it's gray November, kind of 8 years ago. We're in October now. Really, I would go mid to late October is when you could safely do it. You could always subtly do it, but then you can have kind of your images and really the theme of decoration for your pop-up. I would go very late October because that's when you're going to see people start shopping. I would say your holiday season, right? We're going to have a Prime Day in mid-October again, like it was last year. It's kind of the new unofficial, official start to holiday shopping. So I think you're safe in mid to late October, but like you, by the time you get to November 1st, Jen, I would agree with you. You should be up and running with that because people are shopping. That's what I would go with it. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Lisa. Thank you for the question. And Jen, thanks for taking the on-the-spot question here. Let's move to number 5.
So this is an exclusion segment. So the rest of the segment examples are kind of meant to be segments that you would send campaigns to or email content. But this is one segment that you might want to add as an exclusion. So this is looking at customers that are subscribed to your emails and they've placed an order recently, maybe in the last few days, or they've already applied a coupon code that you might be promoting. So sometimes you might want to exclude recent customers if you are promoting strong offers that they might not have used in their previous order. Or if you're sending reminders for discount codes, I think just excluding people who have already used those kind of helps prevent, again, sending too many emails to your customers or sending content that's not relevant for them.
All right. So I love exclusion segments all across the board. Like I could exclude anyone, right? I'll exclude myself from this webinar if we need to. I love exclusion segments. I love this example. I'm going to hit you with kind of a counterpoint here because this is a question everyone on the webinar probably gets. You probably get asked this every single year, Jen, it's holiday shopping. They're buying for themselves. They're buying for other people. Why would I exclude people from my holiday promotions if I know they're probably making more than one purchase? What would you say to that?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I think, it might depend on the promotion that you're running. If it's something like a one-time use discount code, they're not able to use that again. They could, of course, be shopping for other things as well, but an email with different content might make more sense for them in that situation. So I think you might not want to stop sending them emails, but it might be better to send them a different type of email that's less promotional or promoting a discount that they might have already used. So in that situation, it might make sense just to send them different content or at a different time.
Yeah, love your answer. So in the example you gave, a screenshot here, I love the second half of this, which you just mentioned again, is the promo code, right? They've used that promo code. We don't need to send them that same promo code unless it's a multi-use one, really. but a lot of times it's one per customer. So I love the exclusion for the promo code. I'm normally a huge fan of excluding recent purchasers from promotional messages the next several days. Again, they should be getting post-purchase messages. So there's my post-purchase plug. And the other thing I would do is I probably wouldn't exclude them that long if they have post-purchase. If you have a post-purchase series, right? It's the holiday season, let them shop. But I would say optimize your transactional messages, your order and shipping confirmation messages. Order confirmation messages, they'll drive a lot of revenue because people will go back if they're looking for it. So make sure we're optimizing your other aspects of your program as well. Love your answer. Agree with you 100%. But I especially love the second part of your screenshot there that talks specifically about the promo codes. I think that's a really good use case that if you want to send them the messages to everyone again, because they might shop, the promo code is probably a great way to go about kind of preventing that one. So thank you, Jen. All right, number 6, we're flying through these things, but I see tons of comments in here that I think we can have some good conversation with after the fact as well. So I'm not worried about it. Number 6, Jen.
Okay, great. This one is engaged non-buyers. So these are your email subscribers that have placed an order at least once, or they have not placed an order at least once, but they have clicked on a message recently. So this is looking at the last 30 days for that click behavior. But these are people, again, who have never made a purchase, but are showing engagement in some of your recent emails. So these might be people who are interested, but just haven't purchased yet. I think sometimes people might need kind of a nudge. You can use maybe last chance offers on some of your promotions or shipping deadlines to kind of push some urgency there. But I think, around the holiday season, it's a good time to kind of focus on increasing your first time buyers and looking at people who have never purchased before, but are showing some interest by clicking on the emails too. And I think this is another good one that you could even leverage for the SMS channel too. People, who might not have engaged or have engaged with some of your messages, but just haven't placed an order yet.
Yeah, and I think the other thing here, not segment related, but piggybacking off something you said, Jen, is right, they haven't bought from you. So why haven't they bought from you? Maybe they're new and they just signed up and they're checking things out. But the other thing is, maybe they signed up, but there's a lot of competition during the holiday season, right? A lot of price discounts, a lot of things. So SMS, email, it doesn't really matter. Promote your value add. So use social proof, build consumer confidence, promote extended return windows, because that's the one thing, right? I fallen victim to this and I stopped shopping with a brand that I liked and I was buying gifts for my wife. So for those that don't know, my wife's birthday is a week before Christmas rolls around. So I'm doing double duty. So I'm always purchasing tons during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I'm looking for the best deals. What happens is I buy them and I wait a month before I gift them. And then if there's any sort of issue with them, they're like, oh, 30-day return window, it's already up. And I'm like, well, so extended return policies, that's something where if you promote that to me and I've never bought from you, now I've built consumer confidence in these. So when you have a segment like this, you can test how those value adds perform in your messaging as well, right? Putting testimonials and social proof and all those things into your message creative, whether it's banners or just pre-built secondary content in there. I think it's a good way to optimize your message with a segment being built in as your guiding point as well. All right, number 7. I love this topic.
Yeah, this one is a little bit different. This segment is looking at people who have been sent your abandoned cart message, but haven't placed an order yet. And this is looking at people who haven't purchased at all, but you can, of course, add a time frame if you just want to look at people who might not have purchased recently. I think you can kind of use this segment to add in the message title for your cart abandonment email. And I would add the email title for the last email in your thread here. So if you have a series of 3 abandoned cart emails, this would just be people who have received the last email and still haven't purchased. And I think these people can usually show, a higher intent to purchase, that they've added items to their cart. But again, it might be a good place to add some of your value propositions for the brand, free shipping and things like that, that can help, the customer decide to purchase.
Yeah, and the benefit here is we know, like you mentioned, they were pretty close to purchase, right? So the chances are they probably bought from somewhere else. I hate to say it, but they could have. Or it was wish listing, right? They were building up their cart to go back and maybe check sale prices later and things like that, and they haven't purchased. So it's a chance to kind of re-engage those contacts. So, but we do know they're shopping. That's the beauty of it. They're on your website, they're identifying products, they're sticking the cart. So we've got these kind of high intent shoppers at that point. Whether they're still high intent with your brand is a different thing. But I love this segment for those reasons. They're so close. You, someone else, wish listing doesn't really matter because, again, even if they bought from someone else, we just talked about it, they're buying multiple gifts throughout the course of the season. So we can still get them back. They were close, good enough to put in your cart. So we know it's not going to take too much to tip them over for that other purchase as well. So I love this segment, Jen. Nice job with it.
Yeah, and this segment is built based off of a message title in the automation flow. So you can always recreate something similar for your other automations as well.
Excellent. All right, number 8. What do we got?
This one is buyers who did not use a discount code. And this is, again, using that applied coupon filter that we looked at in one of the last segments. But these are people who might have placed full price orders. If they don't use a discount code, there's always a chance they could have purchased a sale item. But these people might be better, I think, for doing less promotional content, maybe more of the gifting content that's not focusing on specific codes or promotions. But these are people who are your past buyers, and you can market to them again.
Absolutely. And this is something where, I think most people have been trained to wait for discounts. Now, there's some brands, if you're a luxury brand, you're not discounting. So this one probably doesn't apply to you as much. But, people are trained to wait for discounts now. I know I am. You give me 20%, I'm like, pretty sure there's 5% more in there somewhere. And I might just wait on that, right? Maybe I'm abandoning carts or something to see if I can get that. But at some point, and this is the beauty of psychology with these things, at some point, if they want to buy and they're waiting on something, eventually they're going to pull the trigger, right? So if they're not getting a discount, they're like, maybe a discount's not coming. This is your chance to jump on them. I think this is where it just kind of reinforces browse abandonment messages, right? So we kind of keep them engaged, or even shopping cart abandonment messages, right? You don't have to discount your first or second message. Maybe you save it to the very last one or to the last SMS. So this will give you an indication about how many of your customers are not actually using discounts, though. So you can then tweak your other messages, whether it's, hey, let's remove the discount from the browse abandonment and see how the conversions stack up, right? Or cart abandonment. So I love the use cases of this one beyond just setting messages. It's about optimizing your other ones just by having a segment as well.
Yeah, and I think date ranges can also always be added to this if you want to look at people who might be purchasing during the holiday season or not during the holiday season, and maybe using codes or not using codes during those times too.
Absolutely. All right, number 9, and then we're so close to getting some of these questions and conversation. I love it. So fire away, Jen.
So this one is your last minute shoppers. And this would be looking at people who are engaged or subscribed to your emails, and then they've clicked on at least one message, close to your shipping cutoff, or they've viewed pages on your site. And these date ranges, I think, can definitely be adjusted. I was looking more kind of at the last maybe week before your shipping cutoff. So the last kind of week before the holiday season and shipping ends, these are people who are active on your site or engaging with your messages. And I think those are, good people to promote any last chance offers that you have, or if you're, promoting gift card shopping or even in-store promotions too. I think these are people who are still showing intent to purchase later in the holiday season.
Yeah, this is a good one because I think most people, even if they've done a lot of their shopping earlier, they always forget something, right? Some don't. They just wait until the last minute. They're like, all right, I'll get the best deals with whatever inventory is left over. But this is a good one because I think there's a lot you can do here. You mentioned gift cards, right? It's an obvious clue where you can push that a little more often or a little more heavily than you might otherwise do it. You can change, instead of discounting, offering expedited shipping, right? Because it's as the promotion, or even set a minimum spends here on that. So we want to get the AOV up. We go, okay, spend over $100, we'll give you, free expedited shipping on this, or $2 expedited shipping, right? So we get the AOV up. So there's a lot we can do with our last minute shoppers rather than just blasting everyone out there as well. So I love this one because I think it can obviously get your average order value up, but also gives you ideas about how to promote those messages to people. All right, our last one will apply to some of you, might not apply to other, but if it doesn't apply to you, look for emails from brands you are signed up for and see how they are treating you, because that might be an indication. But take it away with local shoppers, Jen.
Yeah, I think this one is really interesting too. There's a lot of different ways it can be set up based on your zip code, the city or state, different areas that you can target using the segmentation filters. But I think this is a good one if you do have, physical store locations or even an option for local pickup as your delivery. But I think, a lot of people will do in-store events or promotions kind of after your shipping cutoff. So if you have anything like that going, you can always use that for email content too. And I think some of those messages might not be relevant for customers who aren't local. So I think this is also a good opportunity just to make the content more relevant for the customers that you're sending it to.
Absolutely. And again, it's going to apply to some, not apply to others. But I think the important thing here is that if you do have local customers and they have, say, in-store pickup or something local to them, it's an obvious one you want to do here as best you can, collect the information, right? So if you need that information, you don't have it, talk about sign-up forms, maybe your second step of a sign-up form, asking if they want to have it, provide a zip code in there. But also, I always look at brands that even if I'm a digital only brand, I don't have brick and mortars, I don't have pickup locations, I look to see what other companies are doing to me locally, because there's always something you can beg, borrow, and steal from someone from, whether they're a competitor of yours or not. There's something there that can be like, oh, that's pretty good. I could still apply it to the D2C side, even though I'm not local. So, all right, hopefully those 10 ideas will give you fodder or ideas for either ways to do it for Black Friday, to use them as segments to filter your automation through, to give you ideas about how to optimize your messages here. We've got a lot of good comments and questions on here, Jen. So we've got a few minutes where we can address these, have some conversations around them. I'm going to stop sharing so our heads can be a little bit bigger. Please don't cringe, audience, when looking at me. But we've got some good ones. So we have two questions that came in specifically through the Q&A portal. The first one is from Emma around boosting campaigns or remails based on terminology you use around Black Friday holiday season. This has been a hotly asked question as long as remail has been around. So why don't you, Jen, briefly explain what boosted campaigns are and then what advice you would give to brands around boosting or not boosting during the BFCM season?
Yeah, I think just to overview the booster feature, it's a feature that's in the campaign builder where you can resend your campaign to anyone that hasn't opened after 2 days. So you can set an updated subject line for that email resend, and it will just send the email with the updated subject line to anyone who didn't open. And I think this is a good strategy, not for every single campaign, but definitely for any, promotions that might be ending soon or anything that's more important for the customer to be aware of. I think it's definitely worth boosting that content. And then another thing that you can also do is in the segmentation, kind of create a segment for a manual booster. So if you don't want it to send after 2 days, or if you want to customize the timing a little bit more, you can always create segments of customers who have been sent your campaigns but haven't opened. And that will give you a little bit more flexibility around the timing. You aren't necessarily stuck to those 2 days then.
Yeah, I'm going to completely default to you on this one. So, I think this is where maybe utilizing SMS a little bit differently versus emails, right? So SMS it's less time sensitive than email is, right? We know most messages are read within 3 minutes after receipt, right? So last chance reminders, rather than boosting that, say, to everyone, you can use SMS if you have a decent number of subscribers there. That could be extremely effective for you. So the default exactly to your answer, Jen. But think about those other channels you can use to kind of supplement that. Other ways to supplement that, I've talked about browse abandonment messages. It's a good way to do it. So we don't need to maybe boost people if we have a robust browse abandonment, because those will kind of serve as the booster as well. Obviously, it's a little bit different if it's a specific coupon code or something, but think about the other ways we can do that. We have a question from Lauren around post-purchase. I'm going to say that to the end because it's not necessarily Black Friday, Cyber Monday related, but I love post-purchase. So I've got my own ideas on that. So I'm going through some of the comments regarding the polls, Jen, and I've got, like I chose lack of time. We're still categorizing subscribers. We hope to make improvements in the next couple of weeks. But one from April, I chose I don't want to because I'm the owner of the company, or because the owner of the company said they would rather send it to every subscriber versus only sending it to some people. Now, this is like, I love saying the owner of the company wants to do this because this is always like the get my subscriber list over. I had this once. I was working with someone. They said, my boss wants my subscriber list to be over 1 million contacts. And I'm like, well, 200,000 have not opened the message in over a year. I'm like, what are we doing here? And like, well, it's a number here. So this is kind of related to what April's situation is. So when you talk to people and you're talking to clients and they say, my boss doesn't want to segment because they want to send it to everyone, more opportunity to sell at that point, what would your response be?
Yeah, I think sometimes that strategy can get tricky in the long run just because you end up sending so many campaigns to all of your customers that when you do have a really important message, it doesn't necessarily stand out as much. And I think, people kind of get conditioned to see all of your emails and it might be a little bit overwhelming, but I think you also won't necessarily sometimes see a big impact on the results that you're seeing in terms of sales just because the customers that you're excluding by not sending to inactive customers, aren't necessarily buying products usually. So I don't normally see a big decrease in sales when customers start targeting their emails more because you are sending to the more relevant, engaged, active customers. But I think, sending your bigger campaigns or more important messages to all of your subscribers about once a month is usually more of a better strategy in the long run.
Yeah. So here's what I would say as well, right? To some degree, you're paying to send emails, right? So, I would say if I send 100 emails to people, like you said, that don't even open the message, is there a benefit to that? Right? Well, probably not, right? There's impact of the deliverability at that point, right? You keep sending to more non-engaged people, your deliverability becomes more at risk. There's other factors as well, but you can start getting bulk mailed. So that's one. The other way to do this, April, is think about creating different segments to categorize people. So some of the ones Jen talked about, we have our non-opening segments or non-engaged segments where they haven't interacted in 9, 12 months. We have our one-time purchasers. So we've got our entire list built out into a couple different segments. And then you just send the same message to say all 4 segments, you schedule them so everyone's covered, but then you can look at the reports and say, okay, this message send got me XYZ. This one, I sent XYZ emails and I got $0 off of it and no one opened. And you could take those reports and say, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Boss, I know you want to do this. I can exclude these people. We can protect their deliverability a little bit more. We're not sacrificing revenue because none of those people opened an email, re-engaged, made a purchase. And that can kind of be your fodder to say, we can cut our sends in half. We can be more effective with it. We can, give these people a little bit of break and be more targeted with the messages you do send to those people who either aren't buying, aren't engaging, things like this. So use your segments to kind of send to everyone, but then you can have some data to say, okay, this is why we should start segmenting in the future because it makes those messages that do come across more special, like you mentioned, right, and can engage people. Unless you disagree with me, Jen, feel free to yell.
No, I think that's a good point. It's another good opportunity to kind of make the messaging more personalized and relevant for the customer. If they're, less engaged, you might be able to send them a different type of message that might, make an impact more than just an everyday email campaign.
Yeah, Gwen had mentioned, how do I segment if most people haven't ordered? I think we talked about engagement type segments already, but if there you have any follow-ups, Gwen, feel free to throw them into the Q&A, but look at the engagement type things there, right? So are they opening emails? Are they clicking emails? Are they browsing different sites, right? Use your browse abandonment. I think this is where your automations come in. Use your browse abandonment, your cart abandonment, your welcome messages. Get those things, hopefully start churning some contacts for you or orders for you. All right, I'm going to scroll through. Bear with me just a second as I go through the Q&A section here. So there might be some awkward silence, but feel free to fill out any dad jokes if you want there, Gwen, or mom jokes. All right, so this one's on more segmentation organization. What do you suggest for managing segments? Do we need to clean up our segment list? Should they be deleted regularly? Like, how do we manage segments in the long haul? Or do we need to manage segments in the long haul?
Yeah, I think that will probably depend on how much you use segments and how your Omnisend account is set up for your branding. But I think for reporting, you can look at some metrics on the engagement or the segments that you are sending to. If there are any that you're not using, I think you can always delete those and they can probably be recreated if you need to in the future. But I know there are also some segments based on imports and things like that that might be helpful to keep just for reporting reasons as well.
Very good. Another one here comes and says, and this one's a tricky one. So you might ask 5 people, you might get 5 different answers. Just throwing it out there. But I'm going to ask you, Jen. What would be your recommendation for reactivating the inactives during the Cyber Month period? It's a good question.
That is a good question. I would say, first of all, I think you should definitely have a customer reactivation automation set up. I think that will usually, kind of enter the contacts into the workflow when they make a first purchase. And then if they don't repurchase within a certain amount of time, you can send them an automated email. So I think having the timing automated there definitely helps to kind of, send the message at the right time. And then I think you can definitely leverage some of your Black Friday or Cyber Monday promotions in the content if you do have anything that might be stronger or a discount that could incentivize them to purchase. I think that's definitely worth including in the content of that message too. And I think one thing that I've been talking to customers more about recently is also including SMS in the customer reactivation. Yeah. I think there definitely are some customers that might not prefer to receive emails or might respond better to SMS messages. So before you kind of completely count them out as inactive subscribers, I think it's worth sending an SMS message as well.
Yeah, I would say there's not a great solution for reactivating or not re-engaging, but reactivating or cleaning it out during the Cyber Month period. Like you should have that set up kind of before and kind of run that before you start those promotions as well. I think once you get into the marketing, right, but this is where your segment of seasonal shoppers comes in. Maybe they're not active because they're seasonal shoppers. So using segments kind of inform your decision-making. But I'd be really weary about running reactivation campaigns during your busiest shopping time. You might as well just send it through, get them to the season, and then clean them out after the season's done, in all honesty. Okay. I got one from Alan here, not necessarily BFCM related, but I think it's topical because we get this a lot. Alan, I apologize. I'm going to give you a somewhat funny answer because we do this, but it says, hey, we create a lot of content in Canva so we can stay on brand with fonts, etc. that is not necessarily supported by Omnisend. Does this affect open rates? So I've got my own thoughts on custom fonts here. Jen, any commentary you want to add to this one? Because I could dad joke this thing away.
Yeah, I would say as a best practice, we generally recommend having some live text alongside images in your campaigns, but I don't think that would probably have a huge effect on the open rates. I think the content of your message would probably have more of an effect on the engagement that you're seeing from your customers.
Yeah, so as far as open rates go, Alan, it's not going to impact custom fonts, non-custom fonts. They're not going to impact your open rates. There's other things that go into that. It's going to be how many people are opening and clicking on your emails. It's going to be, it's going to go with overall deliverability metrics on the sender and your IP and all brand reputation, IP reputation. All those things factor into it. So don't worry about the custom fonts. As far as open rates, keep using them if you want to. You're all good. As far as custom fonts go, I get it with wanting to stay on brand. So I do this podcast, a video podcast. It's on Omnisend's YouTube page. 5 topics, 3 minutes each, kind of PTI style here. We do a lot of dad jokes. We have some fun with it. We covered custom fonts either the last episode or 2 episodes ago. And we had a lot of fun with this because I'm like, what did Helvetica ever do to people, right? So I get it with want to stay on brand, but no one's going to buy from you specifically because you use a custom font. No one's not going to purchase from you because you don't use a custom font. So keep going with the branding as best you can, but don't make larger business decisions just based on whether those fonts. But as far as open rates go, no, you're good. Keep using them. You're all fine. So don't worry about it. Okay, let me scroll through, see if we have any holiday specific ones here before we get to some general ones. We've got about 3 minutes left, so we can probably cover a couple. Okay, so this one is, let's talk about one of the questions which wasn't holiday related, and let me see if I can find this, was around post-purchase. So we obviously piqued Lauren's interest here. So tell me more about recommendations for post-purchase emails, please, because this is something where I think not holiday related, but still holiday related, where post BFCM, post holiday season, we can help foster customer loyalty or bring people back for a second purchase with effective post-purchase campaigns. I'm a huge advocate of post-purchase. I've got my own ideas for what should be in a series. I don't. Do you want to start, Jen? You want me to go? How do you want to work this here?
Yeah, I think in terms of like a post-purchase flow, what I would normally recommend is sending a first message in the flow shortly after they place the order with information about how to use it or how to take care of the item. I think we see some of those emails with that type of content that can be helpful for the customer after they've purchased the product. Generally has really good engagement and is helpful for the customer too. And then I also like to include an email later on in the series that would include other products that they might be interested in, kind of a cross-selling opportunity. And then I think you can also have a customer reactivation touch point in that same post-purchase workflow too, kind of just looking at if they've repurchased at all since that first initial purchase. And then if they haven't, kind of later on, maybe a couple of weeks or months later, depending on the purchasing cycle, but you can kind of send some sort of incentive to get them to repurchase or make another purchase.
Yeah, and this is one where honestly, Lauren, if you ask 5 people, you're going to get 5 different answers, and that's okay. That's the beauty of it, right? Because there's not a one size fits all solution with post-purchase. So my first message is just a thank you message, right? It could be branded, it could be all image based. Hey, thanks for your recent purchase. We appreciate, your loyalty, blah, blah, blah. You could have a branding. You could have an incentive there to come back and purchase if they forgot anything. You don't need it. I've seen non-incentivized ones just thanking people that drive tons of revenue off it. I've seen ones with promotions but I love that thank you touch point. It's just, hey, thanks. We recognize you. How-tos. So like you mentioned, Jen, how to use our product better, tips and tricks, usage type things. These are awesome. And you're not even trying to sell on these things, but you can absolutely cross-sell in these emails here. Doesn't mean you shouldn't put product recommendations or suggested products in there as well. You absolutely can, but think about it. So I always tell the story as one of my COVID purchases, right? I know how to cook. I'm not a chef. It's not a passion of mine. It's just I grew up fending for myself, right, and living and not wanting to eat out all the time. So I bought a baking steel, right? It's like a pizza stone, but it's a steel. It's super heavy. I'm not a pizza chef. I don't know the first thing about it. So a couple messages post-purchase. Hey, thanks for your order. But what do I need to know about a baking steel? Well, I need a pizza dough recipe. I need other recipes and how to utilize this baking steel, tips and tricks. And they've got a post-purchase series like, hey, here's our 72-hour pizza dough, which is super simple to do and it's awesome. But they also have those peels, the wood things you stick on the pizza to pull them out or slide them back in, which, I wound up buying one of those on the cross sell. But think about the products you sell. If you're selling lingerie, maybe you can sell a wash bag, right? Or detergent for it. If you're selling shoes, waterproofing spray, or, how to care for your products, or, it could be suits, it could be cleaning. Do you need to take it to dry cleaners? Think about the products you sell and look for areas you can enhance the purchase journey. I think 1 or 2 messages like that go tons further. And then again, like you mentioned, Janet, cross-sell emails, you can make dedicated cross-sell emails here, improve that purchase experience. We go to exclusionary segments. Typically, maybe not during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but typically I would exclude those people from receiving promotional messages, get the post-purchase series and then get them back in. It's never a good thing when you make a purchase. Next day you get a 20% off coupon. And you're like, now I'm contacting customer service for 20% more. This is where post-purchase comes in. So Lauren, there's tons of different ways to do it. It's a good question. If you have any questions, contact Jen, contact myself. We'd be more than happy to chat through this with you. But hopefully that gives you some ideas. Think about your brands, your products, and how you can make that experience a little bit better. All right, so real quick, we're at 11:02, so we're at the top of the hour. If anyone needs to log off, feel free to log off. Again, we'll send you the recording afterward. It'll be on our YouTube channel, so you won't miss anything. Get to your next meeting. Jen, we have only one or two more questions here. Do you want to stick around and just handle these while we're at it?
Yeah, that sounds great.
I'm holding her from a meeting with the owner of the company right now. You can wait. Okay. This one comes from Maria. Any hooks for standing out during the holiday season with a lot of offers and different brand campaigns going on? Awesome question, because we get it every single year, and it's topical. So what would you say here? This is a tough one.
I would say making it as personalized as possible. I think with segmentation, it's a little bit easier, but still something that can be hard to do. I think offering those exclusive discounts or early access stands out more than just having some sort of site-wide discount going on. And something I've seen other brands do that I really like is also doing an all text email during the holidays, where it might include more of a thank you for supporting their brand, or some kind of incentive or early access to purchase too. So I've seen some of those all text emails that I think do stand out in when you're comparing them to a lot of other promotional campaigns that have big discounts on them.
Yeah, I agree. It's used in the different channels. I think SMS is a really good way to do this. Again, there's no magic. There's no silver bullet here. So use the channels. I think automation, it's a good way to pick it up. So if you get them to click on an email and they go and they check something out and then they leave because they're checking other prices or other products, or they were just curious at the time, right? Browse abandonment can come in pretty handy at that point. If they're new, so you're going to get a lot of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, holiday shoppers that are signing up, hopefully tagged on the Black Friday, Cyber Monday sign up form that you're using. But think about customizing a welcome series and making sure that's optimized. So shorter, right to the point, make your welcome series all about selling, because that's why they're signing up. They're interested in the brand, but you can make that a little more holiday specific. So, think about the incentive. If you offer one for signing up, make it maybe more in line with your holiday offers versus 10%, which you might do through the course of the year. And you're always offering 25% during the holidays, up that to 25%, and kind of make it right from the get-go something a little more value added, and then play with subject lines a bit, right? Throw some emojis in there, throw a lot of emojis in there, make those messages stand out, catch their eyes. I'm a huge fan of emojis and subject line and preview text. So use that stuff, do your best with it, and then see what works and what doesn't, but it's a tough one. And then we have one more, Jen, not necessarily holiday specific, but it is a question that a lot of people on the call, or a lot of people in general, deal with, and it's a tough answer here, honestly. So it comes from Jade. E-commerce brand, it's a new brand. So what's the best way to attract new customers as an emerging brand? She just started this month. So first of all, Jade, best of luck to you. Consider just small steps, 1% each day, get a little bit better, get a little more optimized. So that's step one. But I have a friend who launched a brand a few months ago, and I was over at her house, I don't know, a month ago. And she asked me this exact same question. She's like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Now, how do I do this? I had my answer plugged for her. I don't know. You have any recommendations here, Jen?
I would say one of the first things I would probably start with is just getting a good pop-up form enabled on the site, so that you can collect email addresses or phone numbers for any people who are coming to visit your site. I think that's definitely one of the most important steps. And I think it always helps to kind of have some kind of welcome offer or a discount on their first purchase. And obviously a welcome automation where you can send more information about your brand or the products that you're selling to those customers that are signing up to. But I think it's also important to use your other channels for marketing as well, even Facebook or Google ads, and just kind of spread awareness about the new business too.
Yeah, so the pop-up is going to be big. Again, it's not going to help with your traffic, but at this point, you want to maximize every single visitor to your website, and the pop-up's going to do that. So 100% agree with you, Jen, on all those recommendations. I think you finished where my main answer was. And unfortunately, right, SEO is not easy nowadays, especially with direct to consumer. You want to utilize as much organic social content as you can, but even that is limited nowadays. You're going to have to do some sort of social ads, and you're going to have to figure out or paid search ads, and you're going to have to invest a little bit of money there. So I try to invest wisely, try to do some research. And I think this is the benefit where Omnisend comes in. We have those visitors. We can tie any sort of retargeting or things like that through Facebook, through the Omnisend platform as well. So again, it's maximizing the little bit of data or whatever data you do have at that time to kind of capture those sales. Post-purchase messaging, you might not have a lot of purchasers because you don't have a lot of traffic, but you want to create advocates for you. So if you can be that resource, yeah, we've got recipes in our website, or we've got how-tos for how to apply beauty and cosmetics or whatever it might be, become the resource. So they share those resources on their social, and you create these kind of mini advocates for you. But I think at some point, you're just going to have to spend a little bit of money on paid search, paid social. Look up, try to network with people on LinkedIn that know how to do it really well. Most people are willing to share information on tips and tricks that do that on a full-time basis with you. Learn as much as you can, dabble into that. But I think that's where you're going to have to get started, but optimizing the signups, optimizing the welcome, the post-purchase, even browse abandonment. Get those simple automations in place, which through Omnisend, you could do in a matter of minutes, literally. We templatize those workflows for you, and we templatize those messages for you, and even the pop-ups. So use it, build them out real quick, MVP products, and optimize those as you go, but try to maximize every single visitor you have, and small dividends. Hopefully you pay, but get the website pop-up going. It's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, bar none, right away. Make sure that's set to go. So hopefully that helps you, Jade. Thank you for the question. Thank you for your time. And I think that wraps up every question we had today. So Jen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for putting these segments together. Thank you for walking everyone through that. Any closing remarks you want to do? Because you were phenomenal today.
I don't think so. Thanks everyone for joining, and I hope everyone got some helpful takeaways for their holiday segmentation.
Very good. Thank you everyone for your time. Again, we'll send the recording out via email. It'll also be on our YouTube channel, so just check that periodically. If you don't see it in your email, feel free to find either Jen or myself on LinkedIn. Contact us, especially me. I won't speak for Jen, but I'm going to speak for Jen. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions or we can help in any way. If you're unfamiliar with Omnisend, check it out, omnisend.com. If you're on the YouTube video, it'll be linked in the video description. And happy Black Friday, Cyber Monday, holiday season marketing to everyone, and best of luck to you. And thank you for your time. Have a great day.